Hello, everyone. Welcome to my podcast. This is episode number 5, titled How I Arrived into the Real Estate Business. I would like to remind you again to go to YouTube, type in Fisher Realtors, and all of the episodes will come up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They will come up. And also leave your comments or your questions. And you could always subscribe at the end of each episode. Now I would like to thank my minister, Brother Mark Sharp, for posing the question of asking how all of the names that I called, how do they connect with my arrival into the real estate business? Hopefully, I was able to address that question in episode number 4. Now let's get started with this episode number 5. My attitude would remain pretty much the same throughout my Roosevelt Junior High School days. Keep in mind that in that time, junior high school was the 7th, 8th, and the 9th grade, and you didn't start high school until you were in the 10th grade. But now let me share this with you. I would like to share my number one support system in helping me on this arrival and also helping to shape my personality and my development. And that would be my mother and my father. My 2 older brothers, Harry and Jesse, and my younger sister, Brenda. Now let's start with my mother. We called her, as a friend, Idale, but and you will all agree with me that our mothers, our pride and joy. We all understand that umbilical cord, that attachment that we had in the birth process, but even after the birth process, our mothers would stick with us through the thick and the thin. And my mother was no different. I had the sweetest, most affectionate, caring mother that any child could have. No excuse for me about motherly love, because I had a great mother all the way through most of my life, and she died at the age of 94, and she was just consistent throughout all of her years. As a matter of fact, I was her favorite. And the reason that I was her favorite is, one, is my color complexion was more like hers, and I was the youngest brother of 3 brothers and a sister, and I looked more like my mother. So I was her favorite. Now, my father, not a difference, because I had a great father. My father was a deacon of the church, and he was just a steadfast father. He loved all of his sons and his daughter. He was a deacon at the Providence Missionary Baptist Church, and both were a Christian, had the spirit of Christ in their lives, and they really lived in the book of Proverbs, the 22nd chapter, verse number 6, where it teaches us to raise up a child in the way that he should go, and that when he is old, he will not depart from that. Well, my parents, my mother and father, was very consistent with all of the children through the thick and the thin, would be trying to teach us the right thing to do. But nevertheless, when we were even wrong, our parents was disciplining us, telling us the right way to go, but right there with us. And my father was no different. Now, my older brother, Harry, he was 5 years older than me. And many will remember that my brother Harry, by far, was one of the best street fighters in the entire city of Richmond. That boy loved to fight, Harry. And the thing about it is that he loved his brother Joe, and I was his favorite. I was his favorite because I was his baby brother. And he just went on, and I never had to worry about older guys jumping on me. And the reason for that is for retaliation of fighting their younger brothers, because my brother Harry, he had my back, and I was his pride and joy. Now, my brother Jesse, he was 2 years older than me, and I was also his pride and joy. I was his favorite. He was no joke. He was the most serious one of the four kids. And even though my older brother could whoop him, he just didn't go jumping on Jesse because he knew Jesse, it would be a fight. But anyway, those two brothers, my older brother Harry and my younger brother Jesse. Now, my younger sister was a year younger than me, Brenda. And well, she was like my mother. So I was her favorite also. So you could see I was my mother's favorite. I was my father's favorite. I was my older brother's favorite. I was Jesse was, I was his favorite. And I also was my sister Brenda's favorite. So no excuse for Joe. They all loved Joe. So I had a beautiful time, and I was able to be around some of both of my brother's friends, because they were at my home. They visit quite often. Quite often would be every day or every other day, but they would be there. Harold Walker, Charlie Pryor, Cripple Jack, Fred Mitchell, Gump, and his real name was Jesse Dean McDonald. And I want you to remember that name. It will come up again. Jesse Ross and Johnny Boy Walker, Charles Threadgill, and Herman Askew, and we called him Tokay. But now, life is about to change. Why? Because I'm starting to get interested in the girls. We're all changing. The girls are developing. The boys are developing. We're coming to a level of maturity. So it's like girl watching. And the girl that touched me at that time, I mentioned her name in episode number 3, Etta Lee Pryor. And at that time, we called her Sissy. I had known her since the 6th grade. And now we are 14, 15 years old, and we are about to end our last year in junior high school, about to enter into the 10th grade at Richmond High School. I had an eye for her, and she had an eye for me. And so boy, my life is changing. I mean, everything around is changing. And remember this, everything must change. Nothing stays the same. Everything must change. Nothing stays the same. The young becomes the old. Mysteries do unfold. Everything must change. No one stays the same. There are many things in life that I am sure of. Ladies and gentlemen, what I am sure of is life will change. Adversity will come into our lives. And it's how we are able to cope with it will determine if we will be happy or unhappy. So be with me in episode number 6, because I tell you, my life is about to change, and I want to share that as the story unfolds on how I arrived into the real estate business. So be with me. God bless you.